Joe Wasik? If not, then we'll move on to first responders. I'm just going to read the list of 5 names we have here, so you're prepared to go in order. We also have, in addition to these 5, 4 people signed up to testify, and we want to make sure we hear from everyone. So I'm just going to reiterate that I'm going to ask you to keep your remarks to within 3 minutes of time to the degree possible, and we refrain from applauding for ideas that we like, because we want to save time to make sure we hear from everybody and get everybody's viewpoint. With that, our first speaker is Chief Douglas Bukes of the Reading Police Department. After Chief Bukes will be Lori Violet, Brian Scheimer, Mike Collins, and Dr. William Beggs.
Town of Newtown, and one whose children attend the Sandy Hook School. The morning of December 14, 2012, at about 9:30, I was in my police car, leaving the town of Reading and heading to the Hartford region. As I reached the town line, I began to hear radio transmissions from Newtown. These transmissions appeared to involve what we in law enforcement call an active shooter response to the school. While I didn't know to which school the Newtown police had responded, as I did not hear the original dispatch, it was readily apparent that my fellow police officers in Newtown were actively engaged in clearing one of our schools in response to an invasion of sorts. By 9:45 that morning, I found myself along with 2 other Reading police officers and Reading EMS standing in the parking lot of the Sandy Hook School. What transpired during the course of the next many hours, many days, and many weeks, and the tasks performed and the visions observed, I have a feeling my brain, along with many others, will never, and I suppose thankfully, never properly process. So I stand before you with 6 fairly simple requests. 6 requests, one for each of those civilian first responder heroes, our teachers, our administrators, who did everything imaginable to try to save 20 of our kids. And while these 6 requests certainly do not cover everything which needs to be discussed relative to this issue, I would think that these would generate little controversy among responsible gun owners. Request 1, ban high-capacity magazines to everyone but law enforcement. No one has yet to make a cogent argument as to why anyone other than a police officer or the military needs the ability to fire so many bullets without reloading. 2, restrict assault rifles to law enforcement. While I'm not an avid marksman, I am told they are fun to shoot, and I guess I get that. But many would like to take their Ferrari out at 3 o'clock in the morning and drive 140 miles on I-84. But we don't let them. One might be a very accomplished driver and the traffic virtually non-existent and the vehicle a finely tuned machine. But for some reason, the Connecticut legislature, that's you all, frowns upon that form of activity. I'm also told that some fun with these types of rifles. And just last week, a firearms transfer slip crossed my desk to notify me of the sale of a Bushmaster AR-15 assault rifle to one of my residents purchased with, by the way, their hunting license, not even a firearms permit. Number 3, give access to mental health records to those tasked with issuing firearms permits. Our only check currently is accomplished when the applicant themselves checks no to the question posed on their own application. Number 4, give police chiefs a greater latitude in denying pistol permit applications for cause. When I denied a pistol permit application to an individual who perjured himself on the application relative to a prior criminal arrest record, I was told by the Board of Firearms Permit Examiners to arrest him for perjury. Oh yeah, and by the way, I was also instructed to issue the permit because even though he lied about it, the arrest for which he perjured himself was not a disqualifying offense. Number 5, require all firearms, hand and long guns to be secured. And by secured, I mean secured, not by means of a $3 lock that can easily be manipulated or defeated. Number 6, give Connecticut law enforcement the tools with which to best protect our residents. Enact tougher sentences for those who violate gun laws. Our police officers on a daily basis place themselves in harm's way made a great deal easier if all officers who responded were so empowered. I will close in much the same manner as I began. On December 14th, I stood on the grounds of the school which shares the name of the community in which I live and is now synonymous with what is arguably the greatest national human tragedy of our generation. I implore you to turn that local tragedy for us into an opportunity for all. Now, my son asked me the other day when I was getting dressed, as I wear a green and black morning band over my badge, which is usually reserved for law enforcement officers who are falling in the line of duty. He said, "Dad, how much longer are you going to wear that?" And I thought about it for a couple minutes and kind of teared up, and I said, you know, I think probably forever. And I would implore each and every one of you to go out and buy something green. A coin, a piece of cloth that you wear, even if you're wearing ribbons or a pin. Keep it on you. So as this discussion continues through the legislature, you remember why it is that we're here, why it is that we're having this conversation. And as the discussions continue, we make the right decisions for the right reasons. Thank you all very much.
Followed by Ryan Shine.
And thank you for allowing us to talk this evening. My name is Lori Gayette. I'm a volunteer EMT for Newtown Ambulance Corps, and I staff every Friday. In the early morning of December 14th, 2012, our ambulance crews responded to St. Nicholas Elementary School and received 3 patients with multiple gunshot wounds. 2 patients did not survive their injuries. The gun and ammunition the shooter used at the St. Nicholas Elementary School were designed to do the most damage in the shortest amount of time, and clearly this was achieved. I have been an EMT for Newtown for 10 years, and I've worked with many patients in the midst of behavioral crisis. Anguished people lashing out with words or with physical violence, both towards themselves and others. While transporting these patients for care, I've listened to stories of regret and remorse for the wrongs we committed during their sometimes extended episodes of psychological imbalance and rage. In their darkest hour, people can do the most grievous things. Please don't allow the tools of mass destruction to be at their fingertips. Please don't let the perfect storm of untreated mental illness and unfettered access to military-grade weaponry happen again. Thank you.
Brian, thank you. And after Brian is Mike Collins and Dr. William Beck.
My name is Brian Schreiber. I'm an EMT. First, I'd like to remind all the attendants that we are citizens of the Constitution state. We are and have remained people of freedom since our first fundamental orders were written. As a child, a son of Connecticut, I was taught the importance of freedom, and at all costs it must be defended. As an Eagle Scout, I walked the halls of the Capitol, which are watched over the statues and pictures of the founding fathers. As a medic serving with Charlie Company, 82nd Airborne Division, 3rd Brigade Support Battalion, I stood and raised my hand, just as you all have done, and swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I was sent to restore order to a nation of people who were unable to defend themselves against a tyrannical dictator. I have witnessed gun violence, and I have seen atrocities. Now, upon my arrival home, we make laws that undermine the most sacred of documents, ideas, and freedoms that we of a people have been afforded. Neither the size of the magazine nor the style of the rifle will affect the actions of evil. Those wishing to do harm to those wishing to do good will never be swayed by the laws of man. By limiting the law-abiding citizen, we are allowing the criminal to prevail. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the sword is sharper and cuts much deeper. We cannot punish the nations for the select actions of an individual, for we swore to protect our nation from enemies, both foreign and domestic. I believe that a national background check should be done every time a gun is sold. If you have a medical instability and you have been diagnosed, you should not own a gun until you've been cleared by a psychiatric doctor, but that stays on your record. And how about instead of a criminal background check, we call it gun ownership background safety check? If you don't pass, you don't get a gun. And if you're caught illegally with a gun, you go to jail for a very long time. Now, as far as gun ownership, I believe that every single person has the right to own a gun. If you want a shotgun, a rifle, a lever-action cowboy gun, legally, that's fine. By legally, I mean that you've passed the gun ownership background safety check, and the gun is registered, and that list is private, not public, and kept with the state. And if that gun is to be sold, you're verified with the state that the person is being sold to meets all their requirements. I believe that there is no need for fully automatic rifles. They're hard to aim, even on a tripod affixed to a platform. They spray too many bullets at one time to be effective for anything but cover fire and stopping vehicles. I've used many different types. As for magazine size, someone hell-bent on killing people will not care how many times they have to reload. For semi-autos, I feel that a 20-round magazine should be the limit, although I believe you should not be allowed to have the same fully automatic rifles carried by our military and some special police forces. As long as you meet all the requirements of gun ownership, background safety check, and the gun is registered, you may carry the same number of rounds they do. However, if you break any gun laws, you go to jail. No one needs high explosive rounds, ones that go boom. And anyone caught selling these or any illegal guns, grenades, rockets, or warheads should probably go to jail. As a country, we spend so much money and time creating laws to prevent the criminals that we don't enforce them. We already have laws. Yes, there are some loopholes in screening and mental health. Address those issues before you limit those currently obeying the law. Is it not the right of every American to be seen innocent until proven guilty? All you do is create more criminals. By educating youth on gun safety and consequences of their actions, they can save some lives. Thank you.
Brian, thank you for your service to our country as well. Our next speaker is Mike Collins.
Good evening. My name is Michael Collins. As with all present tonight, my thoughts and prayers go out to the families and victims of December 14, 2012. I'm a San Diego resident. I am a Connecticut paid EMT working in Danbury and Brookfield. I also volunteer at Newtown Volunteer Ambulance Corps. My thoughts here are my own and do not represent any of my employers. I have a CT pistol permit. I'm an NRA pistol instructor and an NRA range officer. I am a member of the Fairfield County Fish and Game Protective Association. I hunt both in and out of state. I consider myself a very responsible gun owner. Connecticut, by all conditions, have some of the strongest firearms laws in the country. Some of the proposals being put forth by lawmakers recently involve outright banning of semi-automatic weapons and magazines over 10 rounds. In my mind, this is the wrong approach. The person responsible for this outrage was a person who planned it and carried it out. Yes, he got the weapon by killing his mother. I have not yet heard the official reply to a weapons storage situation. We must give the blame for this to Adam Lanza, not the Connecticut firearms owners who have done nothing illegal or unresponsible. By cutting down the numbers of cartridges in a magazine, you are putting people in a dangerous position. Just as been said, when you have to reload, you are vulnerable. This applies to the person defending himself as well as a criminal. Only the criminal is not going to observe these magazine capacity laws. The ordinary licensed person will. I don't want to be outgunned in a situation that I cannot walk or run away from. As for the so-called assault weapons, there are really millions of these across the country, legally owned and responsibly used. I have been through quite a few of the gun control legal pushes in my time. All that usually happens is that more restrictions are put on the law-abiding citizens, and the people responsible for the outrage to begin with totally ignore the rules. That's what criminals do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Phil Beck. What's my inspiration for coming tonight? I'm a parent of 3 Newtown students. I'm a grammar school track coach. I'm the president of medical staff here at Danbury Hospital. I'm with a newly formed group of United Physicians in Newtown. They formed in response to the December 14 shootings. I'm the EMS medical director for Newtown, this region, and I'm an ER doctor that was on shift December 14. What's my goal in the next 2.5 minutes? My goal is to somehow convince you legislators that gun control measures that you hopefully will enact will make a difference. The gun lobby hasn't allowed a lot of research, so I had to go overseas for research. The gun lane stopped in 96. 29 first graders were shot. Their teacher, and then the gunman shot himself. Just a few years before in England, a 27-year-old with 2 semi-automatic rifles shot 31 people, killing 16 of them. He killed his mother and he killed himself. What did those legislators do? They, over a 10-year period, between 88 and 96, I guess that's 8 years, they enacted real legislation. Did the legislation make a difference right away? Actually it did. Not only did it make any difference, there was this actually bump in gun violence. But where do they stand in 2010? In the U.S., since 1996, we've had over 20 mass murders. Great Britain has had 1. Okay, in 2010, the United States had about 32,000 gun deaths. Great Britain, 155. Gun legislation takes a while to come to fruition, but it works. If you actually own a gun and it's in your home, because you're waiting for that person to show up, it's going to terrorize your house. Let me give you some stats. You have 25 times, not percent, 25 times more chance you're going to get killed from your own gun, or your wife, or your spouse, or your kids. 25 times more chance you're going to die from your own gun than you getting killed from that intruder. States that do have gun control do actually have a lower chance of violence for their citizens. In summary, what I'm asking for is you consider a stronger assault weapons ban, elimination of the sale of automatic, semi-automatic weapons, restriction on the size of magazine clips, the number of rounds, extend background checks, and also please let us do some gun research that's real. From the mental health side, I get it, we want to balance the budget. The same people that are saying let's take care of guns or allow guns to be out there are the same ones that say let's focus on mental health. Yet those are the same ones that are saying let's cut services. So what are the first services to be cut? Mental health. So I'm not even asking you to add mental health services. I'm just asking you, please don't cut anymore. Allow me as a medical doctor, when I see a patient or when my colleagues see a patient, when I educate them on the effects of alcohol or tobacco, safe sex, motor vehicle accidents, can I please talk to them about the risks of gun violence? Please? I want to recognize, 20 years in the ER, I never broke a teeter, but this has affected me. I want to recognize the valiant efforts of the Newtown volunteer advocates corps. Even though Mike Collins and I disagree, I respect him immensely, and Lori, and I let the rest of the Newtown MS thank you so much.